Okay, we are in Bava Metzia Daf Mem Zayin Amud Aleph. Mem Zayin Amud Aleph. We're learning nice and slow about Kinyan Chalifin, and today we're going to get to the main point of Chalifin and Bame Koinin. We are in the words Bame Koinin. The line starts with the word Matbea. It's more or less in the middle of the page. Matbea Nasa Chalipin, or really Enot Nasa Chalipin, and then Bame Koinin. Yeah, it's about, if from the bottom of the narrow lines, it's about more than 10 lines. Bame Koinin. So basically, we said yesterday, we said in the, not yesterday, we said in the past few days, we spoke about Chalipin. What is Kinyan Chalipin? As we're going to see, we learned from the story of Boaz, who acquired the soda or the rights over the soda from his relative, and he gave over a shoe. And that shoe symbolized that he's buying the field. Yeah, he gave an item to the seller, and the seller, that moment, the field belongs to him. Now, we saw that there are two types of Chalipin. Yeah, there are two types of chalipin, and both learn from the same pasuk. One type of chalipin is chalipin shov b'shov. One type of chalipin is chalipin sudar. Chalipin sudar is just a symbolic item. When you get it, that shows that the kinyan is there, even though it's obviously not worth as much. We have to point out already that we said yesterday that if the item, if you don't know how much it's worth, yeah, that the Gemara calls it crazy. In other words, a person who doesn't know how much the item is worth, that's considered to be very funny and not acceptable. And if, therefore, if you ask how much is the item, it doesn't mean you're not interested in chalipin. You want to do chalipin, even chalipin of sudal, even though it's not worth anything like the field, but you want to know how much the shoe is because you want the item that you get to be important. Even if you give it back later on, as we'll see later, but you want the item to be considered as something, you want to know how much it is. Machlokes Rishonim, do you have to know how much it is, or is it optional? But Lamaisa, yeah, some people say if you don't mind how much it is, beseder. Okay, so you're crazy. Lo noah, but it's a kinyan. Some say no. Some say it's an imperative. You have to know how much it is. The other kind of chalipin is Torah b'chamor, and that is, you know, you want to actually swap, and that's why it's not exactly called a regular kinyan. It's a switch. It's a swap, meaning my donkey is worth so and so, your cow is worth so and so. Yeah, we don't know how much is each one worth, and even if it's not worth the same amount of money, I may be moichel. I don't mind if your cow is worth a bit less than my chamor. The other way, I need a cow, and you did a donkey, and therefore, at the end of the day, it's a switch, even if it's not exactly the same amount of money. But again, we assume that people want to know the value. And just because they want to know how much the value is, doesn't mean that it's kesef, it's still chalipin. So it's either a symbolic one, or it's a real swap of things that are the same, or more or less the same. Okay, that's begadol about chalipin. Now comes the Gemara and asks the question, b'mei koinim. Yeah, which keli should you be koinu with? Which means, who should be the owner in the symbolic kinyan? Yeah, when you give over a sudar or a phone or a cup or something, who should be the owner of the kli? Up until now, I told you the opinion, which is halacha. Who should give it? Well, it's like a switch. I want to buy your Harley Davidson. I give you my phone, yeah, and in return, the Harley Davidson is automatically mine. That's not so simple. It's actually a topic of machloikes. B'mei koinim. Back the Gemara, how you coin in what? Rav Omar bekelev shel koine. Rav says you should do the kinyan with the kelim of the buyer, as we said all the time. Why? The nichale lekoine, the buyer, it's good for him. He's content with the levi makne koine. He wants the seller to be the buyer, meaning he wants the seller to get his symbolic item. He wants him to get the shoe, the phone, the handkerchief. Yeah. So he should be goimer bedaitoi. He should make the decision and be makne to him. I got something nice, even though it's symbolic. Yeah, says who? The seller. In return, I'm happy to sell the item to him, the big item, the motorcycle, the car, the house, in return of that. That's what Rav says. By the way, we're going to see soon that it's really Gzeras Takosu. We're going to learn it later from Psukim. Rav and Levi are adding reasons to the Psukim. The Levi Omar, Levi argues on Rav and says, the kelev shel makne, wow, the kelev shel makne, very, very interesting. You know who should give, if I want to buy Tzvi's the motorcycle, you know who should give who? The handkerchief, the phone. Tzvi should give me one of his items. Very interesting. Yeah, in other words, the one who is the owner of the big thing which we want to obtain, which we want to buy, he should be the one that gives over, a kli of the kli of the makne. That's what happens. That's the Kinyan, as we're going to explain why later. As the Gemara wants to tell us later on. Now, wait a second. Now, how does that work? Come on, later on we'll see it from the Psukim. Ravuna of Diskarta tells Rove the following. Ula Levi, according to Levi, they just said this very new idea. The Omar, Bekelev Shel Makne. Levi, who says that Bekelev Shel Makne, the Kelev Shel Makne means what? The kelim of the one who wants to sell the big thing, he gives over, the kli to the one who wants to buy it. How does that work? It looks like the Gemara, the Havim, wants to say, Ravuna wants to say, Akakani ara agav glima. That's what we think works here. It's a twisted agav. Listen to this. The land, you want to sell a big piece of land. You want to sell acres of land of beautiful lush trees, and you give what? A glima, one, I don't know, a jacket, something small, a shirt or something. So the ara, let's say you Tzvi, you want to sell me your big lands you have, yeah? You sell me your piece of land by giving me the what? You selling me the kerchief, the small thing, and agav that dragged with it, agav together with it, you sell me the big piece of land. Is that normal agav? In other words, you sell me the small item, the mobile item, the metaltalin, and agav that dragged along with it is a big piece of land. Is this what the agav we always learned about? No, very good. Im Ken is asking a question. If so, that's really strange. It comes out a twisted agav. Achrayas, yeah, nechosim sheyesh lenachrayas. Nechosim that have achrayas, that have a warranty, or what? Pieces of land. Land has guarantee. Land never moves from its place. That's why land is called real estate. Nichse de lonaidi. Yeah, it's called something that's grounded. And those pieces of land, niknin im nechosim she'en lenachrayas, they are dragged along together with the nechosim that have no achrayas, meaning metaltalin, meaning the movables. That's very funny. Banan as ipchatnan. We learned just the other way around. The famous Mishnah in Kiddush in Daf Chavvov and in Bava in many places. Tanan, we learned nechosim she'en le'en achrayas, the nechosim that have no achrayas, which are less responsible, meaning less guaranteed, meaning movable things that can burn, that can get lost. Those movables, they are niknin im nechosim she'esh le'en achrayas. They are being niknit together with nechosim with achrayas, which means what's kinyan agav, as we all know. Yeah, you coin the land. That's a stark piece of land. Yeah, that's something stable. You buy that bekesef, shtar or chazoko, and along with that is dragged bekinyan agav the metaltalin. So it looks like, according to Levi, something very funny is happening here, right? Yeah, I'm buying from Tzvi the small handkerchief, and atop of that kerchief that drags along a kinyan of karka. That's really strange. Omerli. So he answered, yeah, Rov now answers Ravuna. He says like this: "You have a Levi hocha. Had Levi been here, have a mapik la'apoch pulse denura. He would come out of you. He would bring out of you, yeah, fireworks. Pulsim are like a simonim, yeah, round pieces of fire. Which means either the Ritva explained Rashi Tosas Ritva, either it put you in cherem. Pulse denura is like the cherem. They said they do it in Shemaim. Either it's cherem, or he would have answered you so well. He would give you an answer that beat the daylights out of you. In other words, not physically, he would give you such a good answer that you'd have fireworks coming out of you. Yeah, in other words, you're talking such bad things that Levi, had Levi heard how you interpret his svara, had Levi heard how you interpret his understanding, and you think that he's twisting agav over instead of, no, it's like bread and butter. That's what you're suggesting. I have a small, thin piece of butter, yeah, layer of butter on thick, nice piece of bread, and you tell me to make what? Shackle. That's what you're doing here, yeah? You get it, right? That's supportive. How can you say such a thing? Levi would have been super upset with you. He would have put you nidui or just get the fireworks out of you. Misovas, do you think glima maknele? Do you think that the makne, that the person selling the cycle, selling the land, is actually selling him the glima? No. V'ahi hano de mekabel minei, which means, if you give someone a gift, you enjoy giving the gift, and you enjoy the fact that he receives the gift. It's a psychological hano. Psychological hano is definitely recognized in halacha as hano. We'll discuss it soon more in depth. But lemaisa, the hano. You want to sell me a motorcycle? Oh, finally. Now the hano, the what? I gave you hano. Who's me? I'm the buyer. What I received from the seller, the kerchief, the nice shoe, the nice little item, I'm giving him the enjoyment, the hana, that I received his gift. And with that hana, gomer ve'aknilei, that hana is worth money. And with that hana, I have a gmirus das, a decision. Oh, the fact that, or in other words, I'm the buyer all the time, and you're the seller is now happy to really sell the motorcycle, sell the piece of land, because the seller received the fact that the other person received the gift from him. In other words, let's say when gift someone a nice gift, in other words, I'll tell you a very childish example, but it's very true actually in the adult world. You give somebody a gift for his birthday, and what a nice gift, wrapped in red ribbon and red and green, no, not anymore. And you give him the gift, and he goes like, thanks, but no thanks. Pushes it back. How do you feel? Hurt, uncared for, not nice, right? You feel bad if somebody rejects the gift. When he receives the gift, you have hana. And therefore, we say with that hana, that is what, according to Levi, that's how Chalipin works. Few questions. Okay, what do you want? Quick. North Korea. Okay. Now the question is as follows. Two questions. According to Levi, Rav says what? Rav says, we're not in the shrink's office now. Rav says, don't talk to me about psychological anos. Simple, straight and simple. Give me the thing. In return, the land, the motorcycle, the thing is mine. Levi talks about receiving psychological ano. Would Levi agree with Rav? According to Levi, if I received you, Tzvi, you received the psychological ano that I accepted your gift, and in that in mind, now you say the motorcycle is mine. According to Levi, l'choira, what would be if it would be like Rav, if I actually gave you something real, not just psychological ano. I gave you a phone, I gave you a pair of shoes, I gave you something. Kol sheken you'd enjoy it, and kol sheken it's a Kinyan. It's a purchase. Okay, better. There's no pleasure on either side. So you've been in Israel long enough, you can see jumping the queue. So basically, not a gift. The Seder in it's not a gift, but I'm saying you received an item. And with receiving that item, you have hana of receiving the phone, receiving the shoes, receiving the item. So if psychological hana is called receiving, kol sheken physical hana, right? Machlokes hashonim, big machlokes hashonim. Some hashonim say true, and echinami, like Tosa says in different places. Tosa here and Ritva here, and many people say here no. They say really it's gzeras kosuv, as we'll see later. According to Levi, there's a gzeras kosuv that the kelim have to be the kelim of who? Of the makne, of the seller. The one who sells is the one who gives. The whole vort of psychological or no is la'achar ma'aseh to explain the pasuk. You have to know in the Torah. I think it's time you know that some things in the Gemara that we learn a complete tzvoah are just tzvoah many times from Chazal, or a pasuk we can clearly understand with our own minds. Some things are gzeras kosuv, and some things are in between. This is an in-between case. We have a pasuk saying that, according to Levi, the pasuk says the one who should give the item is the seller. Levi wants to sort of explain the pasuk. Levi wants to do kiruv work. Ever been to Eshet Torah seminary? Whatever. In other words, they try to explain the psukim as much as possible to make it sensible to the human mind. That's what Levi wants to do here, But Lemaisa, according to those opinions, Levi would say that the other way wouldn't work. If I gave Tzvi, the landowner, actual item, it would not be knikna, and only psychological ano would be koina. How could that be? Levi only gives la'achar ma'aseh. Second question bothered me. I don't know if it bothered you. When it comes to psychological ano, the Gemara in Kiddushin gives you many examples of very weird and wonderful forms of Kiddushin. You think Kiddushin is just a ring on her finger, and later on, there's chicken burekas, the Israeli waiter comes to you. No. That's not always Kiddushin in the Torah. Kiddushin can be on many, many shapes, Merchel Choiv, all kinds of things. For example, what happens if a woman gives a big celebrity is a big word, either a big rov or a big, I don't know, whatever, a girl gives a celebrity a gift and he receives a gift from her. Wow. So that the Hano she gave Odom Choshuv, she gave him a gift, then she's Mekudeshes to him, even though she gave him, he didn't give her. Because she received the Hano, just like Levi here. She received the Hano that the famous singer, he accepted the gift from her. Wow. And it's all over her Facebook page. Then what? Then such Hano she has, she would pay money for that. So with that Hano, she makes Kaddish to him. So the Rishonim ask, that only works when Adam Choshev, not by everybody. And here we say it's by everybody. You get the question? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry are over here. We say, if you receive the gift from me, that's Choshev. If I received your gift, then it's considered to be that I gave you something. But the Gemara in Kiddushin says, no, it's only by Adam Choshev. You can't play that feminist game that she'll always give him matana. Only if he's an Adam Choshev, she gives a regular Joe Schmo a ring or something that's not choshuv, If she gives, I don't know, a non-married singer or rov, she gives him the gift. Wow, all the friends are excited. Wow, you received a gift from you. That's worth money. So how come over here, every Tom, Dick, and Harry receiving a gift is considered choshuv? Or maybe not a gift, receiving an item. Says the Rashba, the Ritzvah, and a chinami. You're right, but because this is only Xeras HaKosuv, and Levi wants to give you a general reason, that works. You get what I'm saying? In other words, it's not really Hana. Levi is giving you like a Tam Adover. Levi is telling you really, we'll see later, the Tanaim say it's Xeras HaKosuv. Levi wants to explain what's the Ruach of the Torah, what's the spirit of things. That's why don't start getting nitpicking about whether the person is Choshuv or not Choshuv. Okay. No questions, only my questions. Okay, weiter. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I get confused. The two of you are number one askers. There's a Gemara to Tanoi. The Mechlokas Rav and Levi, who are Amoraim, is really Mechlokas Tanoim. Here it's not a claim against Rav and Levi, because as we said, we're going to see the Tanoim earlier than Rav and Levi already discussed the Mechlokas. What's a Mechlokas? Who should be the one giving to who? The buyer to the seller should give the item, or the seller to the buyer. The Maisa, Rav and Levi explained reasons, and the Tanoim give you the sources. So each one does something else in the story. Let's see, Ketanoim. It says in the Potzer, I want to give a small introduction. Yesterday I learned Megillas Ruth. I never opened Megillas Ruth unless it's the days before Shavuos, but yesterday I did. So basically the story was, we know that Boaz wanted to marry Ruth, right, for all the good reasons. And there was another person closer to him, or maybe even two people, Tov and the Goel, and the Goel wanted to, the Boaz, Ruth, first of all, said she's only going to marry whoever's going to buy the field. Whoever wants the field has to marry her, right? Because Ruth couldn't find a shidduch. Not everyone believed she's kosher for marriage, right? So then Boaz was the one who said he's going to marry her. Now Boaz basically told the Goel, the Goel was a person, the Redeemer, was somebody closer to him, to the family, closer than him to the family, closer to Nomi and therefore to Ruth. To them, the girls, to Nomi and the daughter-in-law Ruth. There was a closer relative. So now, basically, it's very interesting because if you learn the Psukim well with the Malbim, he wasn't buying a field. The field belonged to Nomi and part of it to Ruth. Now, he told the guy, the Ploni Almoni, he said, do you want to buy the field? Why not? But if you buy the field, from Ruth, that's in condition you marry her. He said, no. She didn't grow up in Beth Yaakov. No. He said because Amoni, he didn't know Amoni velo Amoni Smodi velo Moavis. He thought she's not allowed to come to Baba Kol, to be married to a Jewish person, whether she's a woman or a man. So now, therefore, Boaz said, okay, if so, be Goel, I'm buying from you. Again, I hope I'm not misleading you. The way I understood it is buying from him the Geula rights. In other words, I'm buying from you the rights to be the first, like Yaakov sold the ace of the Esav sold Yaakov the Bechorah. I think that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because the field, according to the mainstream of fortune, did not belong to them. So I don't know. But Lemaisa, there is a pasuk. Please turn your phone off. There is a pasuk that says, "V'zois lifnim beIsrael al geula v'al tmura." The pasuk that concludes after Boaz shalaf, he drew out his shoe. We don't know who gave the shoe to who, and thus he bought the field or the rights to be the redeemer of the field, whatever that is. The Maisa comes the pasuk and gives me an extra pasuk to teach me halacha. Listen to the pasuk first. Waglan, v'zois lifnim beIsrael. Yeah, this was a common minig in Israel. I think the Malbim says from times of Yoshua. It wasn't something invented by Boaz. Al geula ve'al tmura. Geula tmura are two ways of chalipin of a sale. As we're going to see, ligol is to redeem, tmura is lehamir, to exchange. Like in modern Hebrew, hamarat ksafim is a nicer name for hachlafat ksafim. Hamarat ksafim is money exchange. Yeah, lekayim kol dovo, to be mekayim, to establish anything. How do you do that? Sholafish naloi, a person should take off his shoe and draw out his shoe. How do they translate sholaf? Lishlof is to draw out like a gun, or to draw out like something. Draw off. Very good. Ah, nice. Sure. Yeah. Sure. To draw off. No, shalaf. Sorry, I know that's in your mind. No. Lishlof is to take out quickly. Lishlof tshuva is to come up with a good answer quickly. Yeah. Shalaf ish nalo. A person draws out his shoe. V'nosan l'reu, and he gives it to his friend. This is what the pasuk says describing chalipin. As we said, there are two types of chalipin. Big machlokes rishonim how to learn this more. I'm walking on eggshells now. Geula, the word geula, the first form of buying through the shoe, zu mechira, is a sale. What kind of sale? Lefi sounds Rashi, some rishonim. It means what? The sale of a Kinyan Sudar. Which one? Sorry for the S word, the symbolic one. The one with the shoe. Yeah, you buy S for shoe. Yeah, in other words, you actually give something, and that is called what? A mechira. That's a sale. And it says also the same thing. Lo yigoel. Lo yigoel, that talks about a korban, either korban or a piece of land. Before Shim argue on that also, yigael, if you look at the psukim, it says yigael, it means to sell something. It says about a behema of kochim, you're not allowed to sell it. Behema of kochim that has a mum, a blemish, you're not allowed to just sell it and the kedusha goes out. No, the kedusha remains. Actually, it doesn't have a blemish. Sorry, a behema that does not have a blemish, even if you sell it, the kedusha remains. Tmura. The next word in the pasuk is tmura. Zoi chalipin. According to Rashi, chalipin is what? Switching, swapping. Chalipin of a cow, which is worth 1,000, for a chamor that's worth 1,000 more or less. V'chenu oimer lo yachlifenu v'lo yamir oisoi. You see, the Torah also about korbanos says lo yachlifenu lo yamir oisoi. I'm referring, by the way, to the Isser to take out the kedusha or sell or lahamir, to exchange a kedusha of an animal that is not a balas mum. An animal that has kedusha of a korban and is intact, supposed to go to the mikdash, you can't take away the kedusha. You can't switch, swap, or sell. So the words lahachlif, lahamir are juxtaposed to tell you tmura means to exchange the actual value. Lekayim kol dovo. What's lekayim kol dovo? The next part of the pasuk. That is what? Lekayim kol dovo. We'll see later. Kol dovo. What's kol dovo? We said almost anything can be bought by chalipin. Chalipin is a mega uber kinyan. You can buy what with it? Metaltalin or karka. Yeah? Lekayim kol dovo. 1 second. Sholaf ish na'aloi. Let's just get to what we want. Sholaf ish na'aloi. A person, sholaf ish na'aloi, draws out his shoe. V'nosan l'reu, gives it to his friend. Mi nosan l'mi. Oh, the $1 million question. Who gave who? Who gave who the shoe? Boaz nosan l'goyel. According to Tanakama, Boaz, the buyer of the field or the field's rights, he, the buyer, gave the goyel. That is like who? That is like Rav, right? Rav says a normal swap. My shoe for your field. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, goyel nosan l'boyaz. Rabbi Yehuda is the Tana. It says like Levi, he says no, the goyel, the Ploni Almoni, the goyel, he gave it to Boaz. Boaz enjoyed the fact, or goyel enjoyed the fact that Choshev and Boaz accepted the gift, or not the gift, accepted the item. Then in return he gives him the field. Yes, you're good. Tana, yeah, quickie, yeah.
The question of buying and selling.
Very good. Tana. Now we're going to speak about many more items many more details of Chalipin. And actually, yesterday was one of your lucky days. I looked in the Shulchan Aruch also, and I saw the halacha l'maisa, and this is the halacha l'maisa, these words. Tana, koinin bekli, afal pi she'en b'sho v'puruta. Wow. Yeah, one may acquire with a kli, the symbolic kli, that shows that, by the way, we follow Rav halacha. Just to make it clear, the halacha is the simple way is Rav. I want to buy Tzvi's motorcycle. Yeah, I'm very, persistent here. And I give him my phone. Let's say my phone is not Sheva Pruta. Disposable cup. Yeah, before Lieberman, in pre-Lieberman times, one disposable Israeli cup was maybe less than Sheva Pruta. Yeah, I want to give you, for your motorcycle, one disposable cup, less than Sheva Pruta, and it works. Whoa, boom. 3 questions come to my mind. Today I'm asking the questions, okay? Please be nice to me. Today I'm asking questions, and I'm also answering sometimes. Question number 1, say what? Less than Shver Pruta is never called in halacha. Frek Toisvas, yeah. What do you mean? It says Yiten, Nesina. Whenever the Torah says Nesina, it means Shove Pruta, right? In many cases. Answers Toisvas a brilliant answer. There are 2 types of Nesinas. One Nesina is when you have to give something of value, such as Kiddushin, Kinyan, things like that. It says in the Torah, V'nos and v'yodo get Sefer Krisus, very sad scenario, when a man has to divorce his wife. It says you give in her hand Sefer Krisus. Let's say the person wrote the get on a parchment, that's Avodah Zarah. Let's say he gave her a get written on Avodah Zarah, yes. Let's say he wrote the get, he carved it, he's a very artistic guy, he carved it on a cheeseburger. Am I off my mind? Am I so traumatized? No. The Isura Hano, no, both Isura Hano. Isur Hano can look very nice and fancy, but something that's also Bano is not Shove Pruta. Halachically is worth 0. In a get of a woman, although it says V'nos and V'yodo you should give her, and usually giving of tzedakah, of meiser, of this has to be nesina of Shove Pruta, some nesinas of the Torah have nothing to do with value. Yeah? And just like a woman may receive a get on an Isra no. Yeah. In other words, he wrote a get on a piece of paper that's worth 0, on parchment worth 0. He gave the get to her hand. She's Megoresha. She can go marry whoever she wants. Because that Nesina has nothing to do with value. It has to do with want. It has to do with the actual fact of receiving something to her hand, stating you are no longer my wife. That only brings my question, my original question, which our question was, why? How come a kli can be less than Shve Pruta? And I'll tell you a secret. According to the opinions who say that you can be koine with pears, the cluster of grapes, or with the fig, or with the dog, yeah, then what? It has to be, yes, Shove Pruta. But a kli doesn't have to be Shove Pruta. Why is that? Now, yeah, you get my question? Why? And you don't compare it to get. Which get in your mind? A get has nothing to do with kinyanim. A get is a symbolic thing. It has to be written. But here, of course, you want to buy something. Symbolic, it doesn't mean like the word. Lamaisa, yeah. How come a person, yeah, would be masking to be makne his $1 billion field for something less than Shve Pruta? And only a kli and not another item. Baruch, no, if you have something good to say. No. Baruch Shekivanta. Listen to an unbelievable story of Hashgacha Paratis. There's a guy which I personally know very well. He gives Shiur Amud Yomi 9:25 to 10:25, Sunday to Thursday. Yeah, you know him? Yeah. So this guy, Thursday, starts with an A and finishes with, yeah. Bekitzer, so Akiva Tachtal was sitting, and I was saying the same svar as you. Yeah, maybe a kli, yeah, is worth pruta, even if it's not shava pruta, because you can use it. A disposable cup, yeah, is not shava pruta. Many times you pay a lot of money for it. You stock for, and you really use it. You stock for nagelwasser, you stock for drinking, and there's no, yeah, you really need a disposable cup sometimes. One tissue. With my allergies, believe me, one tissue is worth less than shver pruta. For me, it's worth million in certain situations. Listen to this. I learned on Thursday. I have my regular limud yomi, not the Amud, where I learn every day. I learn a section of Chumash, Mishnah, Rambam, Shulchan Aruch. In the learning of Shulchan Aruch, I came across a place all of a sudden where it says that Beis Din only sit down for a din to actually start a trial and consider it a case worth a trial only if the item that's being discussed in Beis Din, that's being the bone of contention, is only if it's worth at least one pruta. Less than pruta, no, except for a kli. A kli less than pruta in Beis Din discusses, that takes you to another place, that takes you to another halacha called movable. Remember movable of the first parak, right? Oh yeah, you owe me 200, you say only 100, you have to take a shvua. But if you say I owe you 99 point this, and the fight is about less than shver pruta, Beis Din say go home, don't take a shvua, unless the item is a kli. A kli less than shver pruta in 3 places we see is choshuv. Over there in Choshen Mishpat Peiches, the Meforshim explained what Baruch said. A kli, because it has shimushim harbe, a kli can use again and again, as opposed to a grape, very fancy pineapple, 50 shekel. How many times do you need the pineapple? Once. Only next incarnation, maybe again. They can only eat it once. YOLO, you only live once. The yogurt, yeah? Commercial, they should pay us money. But the kli, the disposable cup, thick and this, that, you can use many times, and you would sometimes, right? When you have no choice. So kli has the value more than other things. That's why a kli, even less than shver pruta, has its chashivus. I'm going to ask you another question. I'm hard today. Why did we say before that a person wants to know how much it is? We said by Chalipin, if you don't know the value, you're crazy. Well, there is no value. So why is it so important for people to know the value? Easy answer. I want to know the reality. I want to know how much it's worth. If it's worth 20, good. If it's worth less than shver pruta, also good, but I want to know about it. Yeah? In other words, don't trick the other side. The other side is a machlokes if he has to or has the right to, but lemaisa, it's not a stira. Let's say you give me a shoe. I want to know. My fancy house, even in a symbolic way, yeah, I want your shoes not to be your old Crocs. I want fancy Marks and Spencer shoes, or even fancier Clarks, I don't know, Churchill. I want you fancy shoes from my house, right? I want to know how much. You're giving me disposable less than shver pruta? That's okay, as long as I know about it. I want to know, I want to be in the know, that's all. The Seder? That was less than shver pruta. There's a Kirse, I'm sorry. Yeah, he was for you. Omar of Nachman. Yep. Okay, I'm continuing. No. Okay. Omar of Nachman. Lo shonu ela bekli. Says Rav Nachman, not from Uman. Says Rav Nachman, chlipin can only be done with kli at all. According to most Rishonim, less than pruta, more than pruta, only kli. Aval beperi loy, not at all. Rav Nachman, we spoke about him last week. Rav Nachman believes that you cannot be going with what's peri. Give me examples for fruit. I know you know about apples and oranges. What else is peri in halacha, for example? No. We're not going to the greengrocer now. Dog, cat. According to some Rishonim, a cow. There's a discussion about sheep. A sheep may also be considered, according to Tosas, Shulchan Aruch says that cows and donkeys are not a pri. They're considered a kli because they're working animals. Even sheep, because you can actually enjoy it physically, the milk or the wool and things like that, may also be considered not as a pri, but as a kli, because it produces real things. But stam, an animal you play around with, or peri you eat, or stones that you like, or may be considered as peri, not a kli. Okay, and therefore there's no kinyan, and that's the halacha. I'm really behaving bad today. I'm telling you the end of the story. Halacha, it has to be a kli. Now, Rav Sheshes Omar, afil beperos. Rav Sheshes says no. Even pears can be. They're choshev enough. They're good enough. A shein, cluster of grapes. Today it's a big industry, right? A fruit platter for Tu B'Shvat. It costs a lot of money. Give me a nice fruit. I'll give you the field in return. Of course, you still owe me money. My time with Rav Nachman. Why does Rav Nachman say only kelim? Only a shoe or the like. A shoe is a kli. A shoe is something very clear. You use and you wear again and again and again, unless it's made in China. You wear it for a long time. And what? And that's a kli. So too, other kelim can be nikna. The Torah is not telling me stam fairy tales. It's giving me a proper halachic dugma of an al of a shoe. My time of Rav Sheshes. Why does Rav Sheshes say anything goes, even peros? Lekayim kol dovo. Because the Torah says to establish anything, Rav Sheshes is kivyachol twisting the pasuk and says anything can also serve as the chlipin. Not only anything can be bought by chlipin, anything can be the chlipin. What's anything? Not only kelim, also fruit, also peros or items that are not kelim. Now we start the ping pong switching now, cross-referencing. Rav Nachman Nami, according to Rav Nachman, what would he do with the posuk? Aksiv l'kaim kol dovo. Rav Nachman, how do you explain the rest of the posuk that says establish anything? Doesn't anything come to include not only shu and kelim, also peras? Says Rav Nachman, no. The posuk pshat is not. L'kaim kol dovo haniknin or di niknin b'minal. No. It's not talking about the active side. It talks about the passive side. It comes to tell me that anything can be bought with chalipin. The chalipin has to be a reshu or a kli, computer, socks, this, even less than shveperuta possibly. But lemaisa, it has to be, lekaim called over, the stuff being bought with the chalipin can be anything. What's anything? Says Rashi, either suda, symbolic, or cow for a bull. I say, and the Ritva is on my side, also it means to say metaltalin and korchois. However, says the Ritva, not anything can be bought with chalipin. We saw one thing you cannot acquire with chalipin. One thing. Matbea, and the winner's Tzvi got a 5-star hotel vacation for a week in Maine. Very good. Yes, a matbea. This motorcycle is yours. A matbea is something you cannot buy with chalipin because matbea is too airy-fairy. Matbea doesn't have real value, and therefore it's beyond, it's not karka and not metaltalin, it's less real. And also shtar, checks, shtoras, things like that either. Very nice. Rav Sheshes, frag dig more about Rav Sheshes, nami, aksiv naloi. Rav Sheshes, very nice, you accept everybody, and you say that the buying side, the item the symbolic item you give is what is anything. But it says in the Novi, in the Ksuvim Naloi, Rav Sheshes, no, man alo dover mesuyam, I've called dover mesuyam. It has to be a complete, intact item. Mesuyam means sholim, intact, full, whole, complete. That's what that Naloi means. Nal was an entire shoe, not half a shoe. La puki excluding chatzi rimoin vechatzi egoiz deloi. Even though I advocate and I'm very pro healthy eating, and I say you can give a rimon, a pomegranate, or an egos, or any kli, you can't give half of them. That's the gvul. Yeah, if somebody wants to give his friend half a pomegranate for the field, that's both peri and half. That the ksuvim are saying adkan. It has to be as intact as a shoe. What about half a kli? Can I give half a kli? That's a machloikes. Says the Ritva, yes. His dafka chose half a fruit. Half a fruit is already a bizoyan. Half a fruit is just a fruit, and only half of it, Rabbi. Half a kli, says the Ritva, you sometimes change your mind, it's still a kli. Let's say, yeah, you cut this into half, I can still drink half the tea, right? Which is very nice to give me every day, right? Or half a shoe can be reshaped. Today we live in a very disposable generation. But if you're one of these people who recycle, what happens? You have half a shoe, you lose it for something else. Yeah. I wanted to get rid of a shoebox, yeah, which I do. Usually I'm very not into recycling, I'm sorry. No room in my house. So then my daughter did something very creative. She cut the thing into 2 halves, and it became like a very nice stand for sparring. Very cute, very whatever. In other words, you can always reuse kelim, even if it's ethically. That's what the Ritva says. The kitza la halacha lamaisa only kelim and no food. That's what the Shulchan Aruch says. We're not gonna go where I wanted today, but lo mishana. Says Rav Sheshes, son of Ravidi, Keman kasvina na'idina. Nowadays, it is customary, says the Gemara of Sheshes with Ravidi, when the Eidim are there and they witness and they testify for what? For Kinyan Suda. Kinyan Suda can be big money. You can buy an entire building for a Suda, right? The money is later wired online. But yeah, you can buy, so you have Eidim, and you optionally, you can have the option of writing a shtar. Not that the shtar is going. People here get confused all the time. Sometimes stars is the buying force, is the buying thing. That's not the sugiyah bichlal. Sometimes it's just like in today's world, documentation to keep records. So let's say you make a Kinyan Chalifin. Chutz mizeh, optionally, if you want, there was the meaning in the times of the Gemara, maybe even today. I mean, today in Mechiras Chometz, I don't know, shtar, yeah. Today too, there is, yeah, besides the Kinyan, the documentation of the Kinyan, but the Eidim writing the shtar. Eidim are usually, or should be, Talmidei Chachamim. Eidim know what they write. Frekt, not Frekt. Rav Shesh is explaining. Rav Shesh is going to give us now the text that was normally accompanying the Kinyan Suda, and he's going to analyze this text word for word. And from here, we're going to learn what's the halacha regarding Kinyan Chalifin. It says, listen to the words. B'mone dekosha lemikni abei. 4 words. Just 4 words. In a kli, mona, in a vessel, whatever tool, the kosher, that's kosher, lemiknia, to buy with it, in it. Let's now start explaining. B'mona, why do we write nowadays that the Kinyan Chalifin was done? Yeah, we hereby testify. The Reuven bought from Shimon the big fancy motorcycle for what? From Mona the kosher lemiknia bay, for an item that is kosher to buy with. Word number 1. Each word is explained here, is broken down, analyzed. B'mone la pukim Rav Sheshes. Look at the little letter. Rav Sheshes is out of the game. Upa. Mona, it has to be a kli, excluding Rav Shesh's opinion. The omokonin beperis, right? No, you cannot buy with peris. Very fancy fruit platter. It's not as choshev as a disposable cup in a way. You don't buy with that. The kosher. What's kosher? Okay, which kli is not kosher to buy? Don't tell me less than shvei pruta. That's not true. Anything, even disposable fich cup, is also good. La pukim de Shmuel, excluding opinions of Shmuel. The Omar koinin be Marokka. Nothing against Moroccans over here. Marokka is mechlekes rishonim. Please stop eating or drinking now. Yeah, nobody here is eating. Also, miglali boko. It's a repulsive, disgusting kli. A disgusting kli. Either, says Rashi, it's made out of dung. That's thank you for the nice word. It's made out of dung. I do not recommend that as your next anniversary gift to your wife. No, I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe ask her in advance. Yeah, made out of dung. Some Rishonim say that's not disgusting enough. They say it's actually the potty, the toilet pot. You know, before toilets were in the world. What's the word for it? Pot? The chamber pot. So yeah. Even if you're from London, do not gift your wife with a chamber pot. Yeah, the kids are. Or Tosfos says it's gerine tmorim. These are the stones of the. In some countries, you call them stones of the dates, or the pits of the dates. That are used to actually smoothen the cloth. Oh, the cloth, the sofer stam. Yeah, to smoothen the cloth with gerine tmoro. The kids are. Although, in other words, if the kli is so disgusting. Or so really, it's not just not the shvei pruta. It's that even if both sides agree, that's not Kinyan Chalifin. It's so non-choshuv that halacha doesn't see that as something worth a Kinyan, even if both sides consent. Right? Yesh gvul. There's a gvul to how much you can say I can use, I can this. That gvul. Less than shvei pruta, nice, but not less than that. Now lemiknia, the next word. What does the word lemiknia tell me? La pukim de Levi. Excluding from Levi's opinion, rejecting Levi's opinion. The Omar, what did Levi say? The keli of shel makne. Levi said what? Who is the one that gives who? The makne. The seller, says Levi, gives. Yeah, you want my motorcycle? You take the kerchief and have the psychological. No. Kamashman lemiknia v'lo leknuye bei. No, lemiknia means to buy, meaning the one who buys it. What you meant probably the onus of the buyer. Ellen, you meant to say the buyer is the one who has to give, and that's what we say. Lemiknia, the one who is initiating the buying, meaning who has to be the owner of the kli? The buyer. So halacha is like you can be happy. That's halacha. Rav Papa Omar, absolute no to your wife, but not the chamber pot. Rav Papa Omar, Rav Papa says, lemiuti matbaya. Now, excuse me, bay, that's a word in the text. The fourth and last word in the text of the Kinyan Chalifin is I buy in it or with it. It's time an extra word. Of course you buy with the kli and not with the kli's grandmother. What do you mean bay? Excluding another item, a matbea, right? We said there was a machloikes. A matbea cannot serve as an item of chalipin, not even to buy. Excluding isura hano. Whoa. Yeah, in other words, what I said before was right. Usually, when you don't require shove pruta, like by a get, it's okay to write the get on an isra no. Here, the Torah, not the Torah, here Chazal add an extra word to tell me, although it doesn't have to be worth anything, doesn't have to have any value, but isra no, it cannot be. There's Chazal, there's the Kosuv. That's what we learned, right? Okay. That's the chiddush here. Now, ikadamri, some say bay. Some learn the word bay, the fourth word in the text. Bay comes to exclude something else. Omer of Pope lemiuti matbea, right? Excluding a matbea, right? Okay. De kosher. The word de kosher, we said de kosher lemikne bay. Remember that it's kosher to buy with. The word kosher, we said, excluding what? Excluding the the disgusting one. He says no. He learns the word kosher comes to exclude isura no, to exclude a cheeseburger for your ice cream parlor. Yeah, aval morika. But if you kept the cheshbon according to the second reading of the text, the morika, the disgusting, repulsive kli, is not excluded. Lo itzrich. We don't need to say, needless to say, we don't have to mention the morika cannot be used. It's simple havana, sense that such a disgusting kli, people don't want to see in front of their eyes, the chamber pot, or whatever you call it. There's no havamina that sane people would do that. And if they do, they're shuftani. Really are crazy. I'm saying it's a crazy thing to do. And the Kinyan is not a Kinyan. That obviously Beis Din wouldn't accept it, and it's not called a kosher Kinyan. Asimaun, next one. Now we're talking, we quote the Mishnah. The Mishnah now, yeah, we are more or less done with Chalipin, or we're going to revisit Chalipin here and there. Oh, it was nice, you know. Asimon, you can chazer again and again. Asimon kones amatbea. So as an Israeli, I have a very, very clear picture in my mind. An Israeli over 50, I know exactly what a simon is. Yeah, we know the simon. Yeah, it's that hole. Where are they? Where are the simonim? So now, however, the Gemara still has a question. Maya simon, what's an asimon? What's an asimon? Is it the real round thing for the payphones from many years ago? Let's see. What? Asimon is a token, and that too is a big word. Okay, asimon is a token, whatever that means. That still needs explanation. Let's see. Let's see. You guys know your stuff, and it's wonderful. But let the Gemara, take us. Let the Gemara take us there. Amarav, and by the way, the Gemara is going to change its mind. Mois and istonois besiman lebeis hamerchatz. Those says Rav like this. Listen to this. In the mikvaos, in the beis hamerchatz back then, people did not have showers in their homes. So even if you didn't go to mikveh, you'd go to the public bathhouse just to take a shower, to take a bath. Now, the Beis HaMerchatzos back then were probably run by Americans, not Israelis, I think. If you read Rashi, I think the Beis HaMerchatz were ran by Americans. Why? Because the balan, the mikveh attendant, the men, would always want to know in advance how many people are going to come that day to the mikveh, so he knows how much water to heat, and how many towels to prepare, says Rashi. Had he been an Israeli, smach, whatever. Yeah, he was an organized guy. What? There were no Americans that time? You see, there were. You see, it was there. Yeah, and also, why American? Because they provide the towels in the mikveh, like in Chutzlah, it's like in Israel. So then, the Kitzer, why am I telling you all this? The asimon was, you have to give the balan in advance a coin, not a real coin, not a coin that is used for money, a coin out of circulation, or just any piece of metal to show you're going to be there. You go to the mikveh, you place your thingy there, whatever that is, your little stone or something. Doesn't even have to be unprinted coin. That's a maskana. It's not an unminted coin. It's just a piece of something that shows the balan. Yeah, I guess it was a box or something. You place, he sees there are 15 stones, there are 15 asimonim there. He knows to prepare the mikveh for 15 people. The day later, there are 27 stones or whatever they are. He prepares the mikveh for 27 people. Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, nice. Meisivi. And that item is kind of the matbea. We're not talking about chalipin now, my friends. We're talking now about what? Remember the Mishnah? The Mishnah said an asimon is not considered to be money. Asimon is an item. And therefore, if I want to buy an asimon, I'm new in town. I want to go to mikveh, want to take a shower. I want an asimon. I want to buy your asimon, Yitzchak, for my money. And we switched so that asimon is considered to be a mitaltalin. Money is money. So we all know once I pull your asimon, it's a kinyan. But if I didn't and you took my money, it's not a Kinyan. Same old of the Mishnah. But what's in a siman? That's the base of merchat's symbolic item. Yeah, that thing you put there. Meisivi. The Gemara is now asking a question on that, challenges that from a Mishnah. En mechalel in meiser sheni ala simon, veloi al mois v'nistonet b'sim lebes merchatz. One should not redeem, don't sell, yeah? One cannot redeem the kedusha of meiser sheni. You have your cluster of grapes that has meiser sheni kedusha. Instead of taking to Yerushalayim, what do you want to do? Take away the kedusha from the grapes to what? To money. Has to be real money, coined and minted, and real money in circulation. And then you take to Yerushalayim, as opposed to what? Cannot change it, not over a simon, and not over neither on money that is neither on the item given to the Beis HaMerchatz. It's both things, right? A simon and the Beis HaMerchatz, right? Yeah, a guy will tell you, I was in Chutz La'aretz and in America. It's kind of interesting, things Israeli talk, Simon and Beis HaMerchatz means a Simon is not the Beis HaMerchatz. Michlal, that Simon, lav mois anisonos b'simon leBeis HaMerchatz. Must be a Simon, is not what's given to Beis HaMerchatz. V'chi tema, and if you want to insist with me, and if you're going to ask on that, if you want to still insist and say, Pirushika mefarish, maybe you want to tell me, you can erase one letter, the, and say, the Simon, meaning what you give in Beis HaMerchatz. Maybe that's what you want to say. You cannot say that. It's not an interpretation. The haloi tanochi doesn't say that in another Mishnah. It says in the Mishnah, Mechalelin meiser sheni al Simon divrei Rabbi Dosa. Rabbi Dosa says one may be mechalel meiser sheni over a Simon. Wow. Rabbi Dosa says if you have the kedusha of meiser sheni over your fruit of meiser sheni, maybe mechalel, move the kedusha onto an asimon, whatever that means. The chachamim oimrin, chachamim say ein mechalelin. Chachamim say no, you may not redeem the kedusha of meiser sheni over an asimon, whatever that means. And listen to this now. V'shovin, what's v'shovin when you have a machlokas? They both agree, although they had an argument about X, they both agree on Y. They both agree that those ma'os, those so-called coins, like those tokens given to Beis HaMerchatz, on that you cannot change the Meiser Sheni. Clearly, it's not the same. That's the X in the formula, that's Y. We said clearly, right? We say they argue whether Meiser Sheni can be given on a Simon, and we still don't know what a Simon means. But in a Simon, which is an X in the formula, it's a question whether yes or no you can be Mechalel Meiser Sheni. On the other hand, everyone agrees that on the Y, on the other stuff that's given to Beis HaMerchatz, you cannot be Mechalel. That's inferior to a Simon. You're stuck, my friend. There's no way you can say now that a Simon means what you give in Beis HaMerchatz. Right? That's clearly an X and that's a Y. Throw that in the garbage. Ella, what does Ella mean? We completely change courses, rerouting the GPS completely the ways, a whole new way now. What everybody here said, it says, what says Rabbi Yochanan? Pulsa, not pulsa denua. Pulsa, as you correctly said, is a piece of, which means it's a piece of metal, round, and ready to be minted, wasn't yet minted, which means it's more superior than the Beis HaMerchatz. Beis HaMerchatz is like, it's like monopoly money. Beis HaMerchatz, a mikvah, Yotzim Polachmatsky from Chasidus Spitzelansk, they decided, that in their Beis HaMerchatz, they have those plastic, tokens, jeton, as they call it in French, stam, but that's nothing. That's not even discussed. The zikr not. That Simon we talk about, and he's called in a Simon, is nice, shiny piece of metal that is round and ready to be minted, wasn't yet minted. That's a Simon, lekula alma. And with that we stay. That a Simon is not called money, and that's a chiddush. Although it's about to be money, as you correctly said, Tzvi, in the times of the Talmud, they cared also about the value inside the metal, right? Nevertheless, a Simon, vis-a-vis real money, is not called money, is called an item. And tomorrow we're going to continue Rabbi Yochanan's opinion that proves that a simon is a token, meaning not really a token anymore, actually. A simon means what? means a coin that was not yet in circulation. Some Rishonim say, by the way, though, I have to give cover to the other Rishonim, they say it's money out of circulation, but not completely out. In other words, it's like money that wasn't, or like old money, either completely or partially out of circulation. That's also, but that's not the mainstream, it's not Rashi. Shkoyach, may we not know any tzaros anymore, and may we have Tchias missing very soon. Have a good day, good week. Atzlochom.